What does it mean to be under the law? Let's talk about it. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is that the word under in Greek is upo, and it in fact means under, like under duress or under obligation. And so, yeah, it's exactly what it means. But when the Apostle Paul talks about being under the law, he uses it in two very distinct ways. And I'm not even going to look at the Bible much this time. I'm just going to give you the framework. So when you go to the Bible, you can understand it. And you'll see things like this. You'll see that the Apostle Paul seems to say, do not be under the law, but then he says that the law is good, and then do the law. So it's like, what is going on here? Okay, so under the law in the first way of thinking. This is about becoming legally Jewish. This is by and large the topic of Galatians. You had Judaizers, or people who actually believed that Jesus was the Messiah. But in addition to saying, hey, turn to Jesus, they were also saying, turn to Jesus, but you also have to become legally Jewish. You see that? It's like an extra step. And the Apostle Paul said, no. We believe in faith. That's it. It is not of our works. And so do not compel these people to become legally Jewish. Now, to become legally Jewish, there was like a cultural standard. You had to be circumcised, you had to undergo ritual baptism and ritual sacrifice. It was like getting your Jewish driver's license or something. You just did these things. And there could have been more or less, depending on your region or whatever. But in general, those are the things that you did. And so, Paul came against this strongly. No, it is by faith. Period. Don't be compelled to try to earn your way into anything that has to do with like salvation in Jesus. No. That's way number one, becoming legally Jewish. Here's the other way. It is trying to do the law for salvation purposes. And that is actual Yahweh's Torah, not rabbinic law. It's the stuff that you would read about in Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And it's doing that for salvation purposes. Now, I'm going to put a card up here. There is plenty of reason that Yahweh gave us his Torah, his instruction in righteousness at Sinai, but it wasn't for salvation. It was to show us what was good and what was evil, how to walk in righteousness and how to glorify Jesus. That's what it was for. And so, it's like back in Bible times, there was an opposite problem. Back then, it was culturally acceptable to follow the Torah. So they were doing the Torah, but they didn't have the Messiah. They didn't have Jesus or faith. Today, we have like this opposite thing going on where we have Jesus and faith, but we have no instruction. And so, let me tell you, if I had to choose one or the other, I'd rather have Jesus and faith and salvation. But to say that I only have Jesus, and now, see, here's the thing, is now that the Spirit has been given to me, God's Spirit is writing something on my heart and it agrees with the Torah. So the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Against such things there is no what? No law. See, the law was the Torah, God's black and white instruction on what it looked like. And so even the Gentiles were having the Torah written on their hearts. They might not know how to do everything exactly right, but they were already by the Spirit expressing it. And then they would go to the synagogue and they would learn how to express the Spirit, but also in the context of following the Torah. They weren't coming under the law when they did that. They were just looking for instruction on how to live righteously amid the Spirit that was being written on their hearts. So, to end and recap, what does it mean to be under the law? Way number one is becoming legally Jewish. The Apostle Paul comes against that strongly in Galatians. Way number two is actually using the Torah or God's actual law as a means of salvation. No, it is not a means of salvation. It is a means of ongoing sanctification. As the Spirit has been written on your heart by faith, now we follow the law because we read the scriptures because we want to know, what are we supposed to do to glorify Jesus, to not sin, to walk in his ways. And James says this, to look into the perfect law, not walk away and forget what you look like, but instead be hearers and doers of the word. That's what we're supposed to do. That's not under the law. That's just doing the law because we're responding to God's grace. I'll see you next week.